Rajiv Takru, Banking Secretary, now joins us with his take on Indian economy and with the take on where is the banking sector headed in the medium term. Mr. Takru, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Takru, India has garnered nearly $5.6 billion by both forex swaps. Do you think at this run rate we can garner about $15 to $20 billion more? And how comfortable will that be for our CAD and balance of payments?
Things are moving as per expectation. We have clear indications from each bank on how much each bank expects to gather. I would say, based on our assessments, things are moving more or less as expected, and the inflows continue. There have been substantial inflows reported from certain banks, and certain other inflows are in progress. So I think whatever is the target we have set, we should be comfortably able to achieve. And this situation was also discussed yesterday in the RBI board, which we had at Raipur. So I don't think there's any reason to worry on any of these accounts.
Mr. Takru, NPAs are of a serious concern now. What percentage is the system NPA due to willful promoter default and genuine default, and what's being thought of dealing with full defaulters?
I don't think we have divided our overall NPA into percentages into these two parts of willful defaulters and environmental defaulters. But yes, those two categories exist. That is true. The modus operandi has been explained. I think it's been explained in the public domain enough. But as you have asked, I don't mind repeating it one more time for the sake of clarity. The banks have been told to do hand-holding for those environmental default cases and try to see that we don't kill those projects or the promoters for reasons which are beyond their control. But the banks have also been told that in the case of willful defaulters, zero tolerance is to be shown, and various alternatives, including change of management, has been told. In the case of willful defaulters, the willful defaulters will have to bring additional equity. They cannot look towards the banks alone for bailing them out. They need to bring in, share some of the pain. As a matter of fact, I think they need to take the major share of pain. And if they cannot bring in equity, they need to ship out. And if necessary, just because we would have to declare them NPAs and therefore we need to keep on postponing the decision, I don't think is a very fair management tactic. What we need to do is we need to take the bull by the horns and if necessary, call in our security, call in our collaterals, and certainly go for change of management and introduce professional management if that is likely to help. But no further postponement of the decision. I think we have some hard choices ahead of us. And as I think the Governor RBI said, and I think very appropriately, and as I think the Finance Minister and across the entire political spectrum, everybody has said, in various standing committees of Parliament and consultative committees, that we need to get tough. So the banks have been told, and in the last meeting of the Indian Banks Association, there was across the board agreement on the future course of action, and I think you're going to see the action start very soon. And my only advice to these defaulters is that get your act together before it's too late.
So what could be the quantum that the banking system can recover by getting promoters' neck on the block?
As far as I am concerned, every single naya paisa is recoverable. Because the assumption is, and there is no loan which is given by any bank to anybody, irrespective of how high and mighty they may be, which is without security and without collateral. So every paisa we have extended has to have some security or collateral attached to it. So as far as I am concerned, every paisa is recoverable. Now if there is a lending institution which has given against personal guarantees and so on, well, I can only hope, or goodwill, I can only hope the personal guarantee and goodwill turns out to be worth as much as the lending institution had calculated that it is worth. Because if it does not turn out to be worth that much, then I am afraid I am from the old school. I am going to start asking very uncomfortable questions on how you valued a particular bird or you valued a particular name for X amount. It turns out that nobody is prepared to pay even Y amount for it, where Y is considerably smaller than X. So I think accountability has to be enforced, and that has to be enforced across the board.
But Mr. Takru, a lot of system NPAs are due to policy issues. What is the quantum of projects that CCI is likely to clear, and is it enough to revive economic growth?
I'm glad to inform you that the CCI in the last 2 or 3 meetings have already cleared, I think, 42 large projects. And these were huge projects, all of them. I think this would be in the neighborhood of maybe 2 lakh crores. If I don't get the figure wrong, I mean, the wild approximation I'm giving you. But it won't be too far off the mark. Now that is substantial, and I may also clarify, and this is extremely encouraging, that there were about 173 projects which were identified by the Ministry of Coal as being stuck because of non-signing of fuel supply agreements. In the last meeting of the CCI, again, if my memory does not desert me at this time, I think about 142 or 143 projects out of 173 had been already cleared by the Ministry of Coal, and fuel supply agreements had been signed. So I would say that was a remarkable achievement, and I'm sure that out of the 173, probably 170 or all 173 would have been signed by today, and these were things which had been stuck for a very long time. So I would say that very, very substantial progress has been made in terms of clearing the bottlenecks which were plaguing some of our major projects, especially relating to coal, relating to environmental clearance, relating to power purchase agreements, pertaining to land acquisition and granting of permission for highway projects, and so on. So I think performance-wise, I think it's been a remarkable 2-3 months.
Mr. Takru, is there a possibility rather that Reserve Bank of India could give a lifeline to banks on NPA provisioning norms, especially which are related to infrastructure sector?
No. Let me put things in perspective. You see, the way you and I talk loosely about NPAs, we treat it as a bad word. An NPA is not a bad word. An NPA certainly means that this is an asset which we need to worry about. Okay? Now, excuse me. This is an asset we need to worry about. We need to worry about it for a reason. The reason is that it's got into some kind of a difficulty. Whatever be the reason. The fact of the matter is that as a lending institution, the bank has got into difficulty. So the RBI looks at it that way. I don't think we should confuse the RBI's role with how we are seeking to define NPAs as willful defaulters and environmental defaulters and so on. So the RBI is only sounding a note of caution, saying that if you have this kind of an asset where your lending has got into some kind of difficulty, please, as part of due diligence or as part of safe banking, make a provision in your book for this kind of a thing. That's all. It means nothing really in real terms other than it's a safety precaution taken by RBI, and I don't think that we should look upon this safety precaution in any way other than that in which we actually should be looking at it. So I have nothing to say when it comes to that. I say that no, nothing is required. If the banks have to make a provision, they should make a provision. It's perfectly all right.